Hey, what is up guys, it's Hami. Today I'm going to be doing a hero guide on Celeste. Celeste is a backline mage who does crazy sustain damage, and she scales really well into the late game. Celeste's heroic perk. So Celeste's heroic perk, it's basically basic attack. It's her basic attack, and it reveals her targets for 1.5 seconds no matter what. So if you Taka, go invis, it reveals you. Kestrel, same thing. It also does pretty good damage. So you can actually use this pretty effectively if you're ever out of energy, and you can still do decent damage in team fights. Celeste's A ability, Heliogenesis, is a small star that she throws down at about 1.2 seconds when it's maxed. So you throw one down every 1.2 seconds, so you're doing crazy sustained damage. Also, if you throw one of these stars down on an existing star, it does what's called a supernova. It does more crystal damage, and it does it in an area of effect. Also, each time you put a point to this ability, it increases the range. At level 8, it has a pretty crazy range of 9, so you can basically outrange every hero in the game, able to poke them from far distances before they're even close to you to do damage. Celeste's V ability, the quick collapse, is a stun, which is controlled with wherever you tap, and it's on about an 11-second cooldown once you get late game, because usually you don't ever max this ability because maxing your Solar Storm is way smarter. Not keeping your distance, but protecting yourselves from heroes that are going to dive you, so like a Taka, Black Feather, Glaive, etc. You can stun them and kind of screws them over and puts them in an extremely bad spot, but it's also a pretty hard stun to land on mobile heroes. Celeste's ultimate, Solar Storm, it starts out at level 1, you throw down, and then it's 3 stars, and it's a global ult, so wherever you select, no matter what, it goes there. The first thing it comes into contact with, it hits. So Kraken will go, Miner will go, heroes will go, but not your teammates obviously, or walls. Each time you put a point into this, it increases the number of stars. Alright guys, so now I'm going to show you how to use all the Celeste abilities in game. I'm also going to show you the build that I usually go and would recommend, also what I put all my points into in all my abilities. So to start things off with the build I usually go, so usually when I play Celeste, I like to get a Frostburn. With it comes damage items, I get a Frostburn, Broken Myth, and an Eve of Harvest. Then I go with, when it comes to boots, I'm going to go with Chargers, because Celeste has damage, she has energy sustain problems, so you always want to have lots of energy, so getting these boots is a really good investment if you end up getting there late game. When it comes to defense items, I recommend getting 2, just because with 3 items, Celeste already does insane damage, so you don't really need a 4th item. So obviously you just build an Aegis and a Metal Jacket. When it comes to the abilities I put my points into, I always max my A because it gives me increased range. And like once it's maxed, like I said before, you can basically outrange every other hero in the game and do damage before they're even close. When it comes to the B ability, I recommend only putting 4 points into it, because maxing it's not really worth compared to your ultimate. And for my ult, obviously I max my ult because it sends out more stars and it does more damage, so it's easier to hit. So now I'm going to talk about how to kind of change your abilities together to do the most damage you can possibly do with the hero. So usually when I play Celeste, or when you play Celeste, you want to try to save your ultimate until you have like at least 5 or 6 stacks. So just be poking away at the enemy team, and once you find a good opportunity, whether they're all grouped up or there's one more person left, or it's just the end of the fight. Usually you just save your ult for the end of the fight, or if you have a ton of stacks and they're grouped up, so you're poking them down, you have a ton of stacks. You can also chain it really well with your B. So like if you have some Novas down, you see one of the opponents walk onto your Novas, you throw a stun down, you supernova, you ult, supernova again. It does crazy damage, especially if you have all 9 stacks on your Broken Myth. So if you're more of a beginner getting into Celeste, I would recommend not trying to really fight your opponents a lot early game until you get your items and your levels. So I'd recommend just to try to farm up, and then once you hit your item spikes, you try to pick more fights where you're stronger than your opponents. For more advanced players, you can fight with Celeste early if you can hit your stun and your supernovas really well. But other than that, you wouldn't really still want to pick a fight unless it's like forced. Preferably, you still want to just scale, get your levels, and just wait till late game for your time to shine. When it comes to positioning with Celeste, you always, 99% of the time, you want to just stick in the back line behind your support or your jungle, and you just want to poke away. And just always, whether you're kiting back, you always just want to be kiting away from your opponents. You never want to really be running into them unless you're really far ahead or they're just not doing any damage and then they fell off or something. So you're always just going to want to be kiting back, doing as much AoE and just sustain damage as you can. And then save your stun for when one of the opponents wastes their gap closer or a movement ability. So like Taka's A, Vox's A, Glaive's Afterburn. You just want to really lock people down and put them in a really bad spot. So saving your stun for when people jump on you works really well. Celeste takes a lot of time to get good at, be able to constantly hit her skill shots and do like the most damage you can possibly do. So if you're having trouble with her at first, don't give up, because if you keep sticking with it, you can actually do like crazy damage and you can basically play it into any pick. So yeah, just don't give up and keep grinding her out if it's a hero you want to play or really enjoy playing. Thanks for watching my hero guide and have a good day.